had probably one of the worst mornings of my life today. Hi guys, it's Brittany. I've been away for a little bit longer than I wanted to, or taken a little bit of a longer break than I usually would with these videos, but it is because we had the worst week, probably one of the worst weeks of my life, and definitely the worst week I've ever had traveling. This isn't our first rodeo taking care of a sick baby while traveling, but it is our first time doing it in a bungalow over the water, with no running water, with no cleaning products, and it's our first time ever dealing with D&V as a family. If you've ever handled any of this before, you know what I'm talking about, and you know what a struggle it is, and imagine doing it without cleaning products or without running water. It's been a very disgusting and very scary week for us, and we ended the whole thing in the hospital and in a hotel room, and I'm going to tell you why we did that in just a minute. In case you don't know, my husband Phil and I are traveling right now in Raja Ampat, West Papua, Indonesia, with our 2-year-old son Dorian, aka Dory. We're actually here for his research project. He's a marine biologist collecting data on fish and coral in this area. It's on a very remote set of islands, and he brought us, his family of, our little family of 3 with him, although he may be regretting that decision just about now. His research project came to a screeching halt due to a more poopy and vomitous project. Okay, so we had a nightmare night last night of much puking. Dory woke up in the middle of the night and threw up everywhere multiple times. So we were up all night with him in our little cabin over the water, where we don't have running water, we're far away from the bathrooms, we don't have a washing machine. Well, the homestay has a washing machine, but we couldn't wash anything right away, so it was just like a complete disaster. Dory hasn't been able to hold anything down so far, but he's in good spirits, and he's currently having some soup. This is what was really confusing for us. At a lot of points this week, he seemed perfectly fine, like he was over it, like he was feeling good, and then it would happen again. Things would get really bad again. He would vomit or have really bad diarrhea. This is all of the puke laundry from last night. Oh.
2 sets of sheets, a towel,
and a bunch of clothes. Ay, 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 ay. And this is the disaster zone. I threw up all over the boards, over here. Poor little buddy. It was a rough night. He seems so much better.
He was like good all day.
Yeah. Hello. Welcome to the next morning. Dory here had a much better night last night, but then we gave him milk this morning, and he promptly threw that up.
11.
FYI, one thing that you absolutely have to pack when you're traveling with a baby or a toddler or a young child, even if you're not going to a very remote place like we are in, a really good travel medical kit. So we are making very good use of our medical kit, busting out the electrolyte, water, powder, rehydration salts. This is the medical kit that I brought with us. I made a video about all the stuff that we brought. So go check that out. A few must-haves just in case your toddler gets sick when you're away from home. Kids gravel, this is what it's called in Canada, but it's the nausea relief medicine, so it's going to be called something different depending on where you are. Children's Tylenol, children's ibuprofen, Pedialyte oral rehydration salts to put in your kids' water, making sure they're very nice and hydrated. And then of course all of your basic first aid stuff. Another big pile of laundry over here to do today. Things that he has barfed on. Poor buddy. Local wisdom says that the sea is very healing. The sea is like medicine, and so I think we're gonna go take a dip and look for mantas today. That's the plan. This is what I was talking about earlier. Dory seemed like almost back to normal, like his normal self again, and we figured a little sea air might do him good. Little did we know we still had so much bodily fluid trauma ahead of us this week. Okay, so let's go on the boat. Let's go on the boat.
Let's go boat.
Yay!
This is slow one.
A slow boat? I think it's pretty fast. He's pretty, he's had some stomach problems the last couple days, so he's been in rough shape. It's not fun. Hey, buddy. Will we see mantas?
Ouais, regarde des poissons.
So in the end, we didn't find any mantas. Apparently it's just not quite the season yet. They haven't arrived yet. So we'll give it a try again in a few days or maybe next week. And maybe it wasn't the best day for it anyway because Dory is really not feeling well. Okay, so now I'm feeling really sick.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay. I had probably one of the worst mornings of my life today. So Dory and I were in bed pretty much all day, all morning, and now a little bit of the afternoon, and I'm finally starting to come out of the fog. Just like, you know, travel, DMV, not pretty. And match that with having to change a toddler's really disgusting diapers. While being very nauseous yourself. It's just not good. Dory started feeling sick on Saturday night for the first time he threw up, and it is now Thursday morning and we are still dealing with all of this. It has just been a rough travel week. If you've ever traveled with a toddler or baby when they've been sick, you know what I'm talking about. After I was just taken out for like 24 hours or something, maybe a little bit less than that, I was just gone to the world. Feeling so nauseous. Phil really stepped in there. I felt totally better after that. I feel a lot better now. I feel normal. But Dory has just been suffering on and off the last 2 days. He's had a little bit of a fever and then it's gone away. We thought his puking had stopped completely, but then he threw up again this morning. Really hard for him to eat anything. He's drinking a lot, but that's about it, and eating here and there, like bananas. I think he had a couple of bananas this morning. We talked a little bit last night about what we'd have to do to get him to the hospital if we need to do that. You might have seen another video I made about our medical kit on this channel, where I talked about something that happened to us in Scotland when we just arrived there last year, actually around this time. Dory got super sick, and like just after arriving, after stepping off the plane in Scotland, and we had to take him to the emergency room, and he ended up being fine, but it was really scary obviously for us, and so we're just sort of, that's what's on our minds now, just in case he gets worse. How are we going to get to the hospital? It involves a boat ride. It would not be fun, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I just really want him to get better. I want to get better and feel good about being here again. Dear Diary, it has been 6 days since the pooping began. We're all still here. Barely.
I feel pretty good.
The lone survivor of the zombie apocalypse. Tori's drinking, that's good. But not eating much. Not eating much at all. It's now Friday morning. Phil is supposed to be working this morning, but instead we are all packing up all of our stuff and heading to the nearest big city to go to the hospital because Dory threw up in the middle of the night again last night, and he's been acting pretty weird. He was acting pretty weird yesterday, and he's still acting strange. Poor little buddy. So just like out of precaution, you know, it's been almost a week now that he hasn't been feeling well. We're gonna go see a doctor and then stay in a hotel tonight and probably for the next 2 or 3 nights and just get him better and healthy before continuing on here. packing all of our bags. We've been here for so long now, like over a month, so it's really been lived in. Phil's been on the phone with our travel insurance and having some trouble with that. Travel insurance companies just seem to make things as difficult as possible, especially when you're in a place where it's not super easy to call them. So door to door, it was actually an 8-hour travel day for us to go to the hospital and be at the hotel. We were so exhausted, and Dory even more so. He, of course, didn't seem to be doing as bad when we finally reached the hospital. Like, this is always the case, right? But we still went to the ER. We still had a nurse check him out. She asked us a bunch of questions. If we had gone the day before, he probably would have needed IV fluid, but by the time we got there, he didn't have a fever anymore. He was acting more normal. He just still had diarrhea. So they gave us some medicine, and that cost, I think, around $30 Canadian. Phil did call our travel insurance company before we went to the hospital, which is what you usually have to do. If you need to go to the hospital for anything, make sure you call your travel insurance first, if you can. I know sometimes this just isn't possible in an emergency, and they were going to reimburse us for whatever costs, but it ended up being so low that we're probably not going to bother getting reimbursed. Someone saw my Instagram stories about all of this and mentioned that when their family was traveling, they all kept getting sick, and they figured out it was because they weren't washing their water bottles as often as they should have. And honestly, I think this could have been, you never know, right? With DMV, it just spreads so quickly, but the sanitation around here is not like amazing, and so things like having water bottles, it's hot and humid all the time, things grow quickly. We had our baby carrier covered in mold just from hanging out in our it was just hanging in our cabin, and it was totally covered in mold after a month. Things just grow here because it's so hot and humid, and so who knows, our toothbrushes, our water bottles, just touching things because we live in a communal space. Who knows how we got it, but now I'm being extra careful with washing things. I was washing things in boiling water and soap at our hotel before we left. We ended up staying, I believe it was 3 nights in a hotel just to recover in air conditioning and dry air. So anyway, this whole week was a horrible week of parental emotions and just trying to keep it together. I feel like I just have a lot of things going on anyway, being here, just identity wise, and feeling like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. I'm still kind of sorting things out, how I'm feeling being a mom here and, you know, parenting in the tropics while Phil is working a lot, and it's a vacation spot. It's beautiful, but it's also real life for us. You know, traveling now as a mom versus how it was before. All the things, just kind of sorting things out a little bit. So I don't know if that's interesting for me to talk about. I can maybe try to organize my thoughts and make a bit more of a clear video on that someday. Anyway, Dory is doing a lot better now. He's eating again. He had lost weight, and he is already a small thing, so we're really happy that, you know, he's very much recovered now. We've had a week of going out on the boat a lot with Phil, and I'll be telling you guys a lot more about our upcoming adventures soon. Thank you for watching.